Hello boys, good morning. This is video is meant for both class 12th as well as class 11th biology students as well as computer students. And this is to help you for your upcoming UPSC NDA exam. Sometime back in my previous videos, I have told you the topics that come under biology. Also, we discussed probable number of questions that will be asked in your UPSC NDA exam from biology point of view. If you recollect from your memory, I said there would be around 11 to 12 questions. That is, each question carrying 4 marks. So 44 to 48 marks you can score from biology side. And I have listed you around 11 topics that would be coming from biology. One of the topics that is very important, and invariably at least one question will come from this topic, that is the top scientists and their contributions in the field of science and in particular in biology. So today I am going to talk about some of the top 10 scientists who have contributed towards the field of general science in general and in particular biology. So here we go. The first one is Aristotle. Of course, all of you know, way back in your junior classes you have studied, you heard this name, 384 to 322 BC, and Aristotle is known as father of biology. And classification, why is he called, why is he referred, why is he respected even today, is for the classification of living things. So ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle isn't often considered when it comes to great biological discoveries, but his work on the classification of living things was revolutionary. Keep that. See, it is 384 to 322 BC, and at that time he started this classification of living things. That is the greatness of Aristotle, and he referred to as the ladder of life. Aristotle's classification system was used up until the 19th century. He was the first person to recognize the relation between the species and the organisms. And that is the reason why we still give top respect to Aristotle. Then comes in the year 121 to 161 AD, that is Galen. He is recognized for his early medical experimentation. The work of Greek physician Galen revolutionized the way medical research is conducted. Galen had a major influence on the development of many fields of medicine, including anatomy, study of internal organs, pathology, pathogen means disease causing organism, so pathology, study of the organisms, pathogens, physiology, the properties of tissues and organs, neurology, neurosciences, study of nervous system, neurons. Remember, we said neuron is a nerve cell, whereas nephron is unit of kidney excretory system. So don't get confused between neurology and nephrology. Neuron and nephron. Neuron is a nerve cell, nephron is a excretory cell. So notable discoveries include the identification of differences between veins and arteries. Arteries carry pure blood from heart to different parts of the body. Veins collect impure blood from different parts of the body and put it back to heart. From heart, that impure blood goes to lungs, wherein it gets purified. So recognizing that the larynx generates voice. So whatever we talk, thanks to our larynx, we call it voice box. Much of his hypothesis had scientific errors, but his work in pioneering the field of medical research is undeniable. So salute to Galen. Next, again, very famous scientist in the year 1632 to 1723, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. He is related to microbiology, that is the microbe. We are talking of study of microbes, microbiology. So Antony van Leeuwenhoek is well known for his contribution to microscopy, and he applied this in the field of biology. He revolutionized a technique for creating powerful lenses, which some speculate were able to magnify up to 500 times. Already we know, we have got in our own lab. Leeuwenhoek used the microscopes to find out more about the living world. His discoveries include bacteria, the vacuole of the cell, and the banded pattern of muscle fibers. So Leeuwenhoek was created with discoveries, that is bacteria, okay, vacuole of the cell, and the muscle fibers. Next, Carl Linnaeus, of course, we know, he is father of modern taxonomy, 1707 to 1775, a botanist, a physician, and a zoologist. So Carl Linnaeus came up with the system of naming, ranking, and classifying organisms we still use today. That is the greatness. Look at the year 17th century, 1707 to 1775, and whatever he has done it, even today it is accepted and still we are using it. It was his collection of specimens of plants, animals, and shells that led him to think up a way of grouping and naming species. He separated all living things into three kingdoms: animals, plants, and minerals, subdivided them into classes, then into orders, and finally into genera and species. Take Homo sapiens. Homo is the genus and sapiens is the species. Of course, all of us know the scientific name, biological name of ours, human beings, is Homo sapiens. And we talked, when you were in class 10th, we talked about the rules that we should follow when we write the binomial nomenclature. Bi means two. So every phrase has got two parts: genus part or genera part and species part. The first one is the genus, like in Homo sapiens, Homo. And the second part, sapiens, is the species, like that. So the biological name, classification of biological names go hand in hand with the binomial nomenclature of the species. So thanks to Carl Linnaeus. And next, again, the greatest, perhaps the greatest naturalist and a biologist forever is Charles Darwin. A theory of evolution. Many a time we'll be wondering how, after all, the human beings, we have come onto this earth. Is it that directly we have come onto the earth? There were many theories that we read in junior classes, including the one that God has created human beings and other organisms all of a sudden. But our beliefs and science, they don't match together most of the time. The scientific evidence shows that there is evolution of species, and we have a lot of evidences like evolution of brain, evolution of heart, and probably the evolution of the whole organism. So that is where Charles Darwin is credited, and he has used what we call the principles of Charles Darwin, theory of evolution, right? And the most important one that all of us need to remember is the survival of the fittest. Any organism that's fit enough will only survive. And that is applicable even today for all of us, for any organism, be it a plant, animal, human being, and in any given situation, in any field, survival of the fittest. So you need to be fit to survive. Even in your UPSC NDA, who will get selected finally? It is the fittest cadet. So keep in mind this mantra of Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest. So probably the most famous naturalist of all times, as I said, Charles Darwin's contribution to biology and society is immense. He established that all species of life descended over time from common ancestors, with the species continuing to exist through the process of natural selection. His theory of evolution was published in the Origin of Species in 1859, and it caused quite a stir. He was disputing the long-held belief that all species had been created by God, as I said, at the beginning of the world. Evolution by natural selection combined with Mendelian genetics is now accepted as the modern evolutionary synthesis and forms the foundations of much biological scientific endeavor. And again, next person, the greatest person ever, Gregor John Mendel, 1822 to 1884, and is called father of genetics aptly. So he is created with the new branch of biology, modern genetics. And the basic question that all of us get here is, why am I what I am? What makes me to reason out how I appear? This question was logging in minds of many people for a long time, and the answers that we got is from this gentleman, Gregor John Mendel. So Gregor Mendel's extraordinary contribution did not get the recognition, unfortunately, it deserved until long after the final death. Okay, unfortunate. He used peace, to discover and demonstrate the laws of genetic inheritance. Remembering, we said law of dominance, law of independent assortment, and law of segregation. So just based on observations, physical observations that he has made while doing experiments with the garden pea, and attributed those results to other organisms also. So he has used the word dominant and recessive. But only thing is, instead of the word genes, he used a factor. Like when a person is very tall, the question comes, why is that person is so tall? He could tell with his limited availability of technology at that time that there are factors that are responsible for a person to be tall. And later on we come to know, with an example we said capital T, dominant genes, capital T, small t, hybrid tall. Okay, and in that small t is called recessive gene. So he started using these words, dominant and recessive gene. The laws were rediscovered at the turn of 20th century and provided the mechanism for Darwin's theory of natural selection to occur. The two theories combined to form our current understanding of the evolutionary process. So thanks to Charles Darwin and Gregor John Mendel, for we have come to know how we have evolved. And another greatest lady, salute to this lady for discovering what is called jumping genes, which was new until this discovery. So 1902 to 1992, American geneticist Barbara Mclean spent her career analyzing maize, where she developed a technique for identifying and examining chromosomes individually. Despite it not being immediately recognized, her work made it possible for us to map human genomes. Remember, all 12th class boys, we are all studying HGP, Human Genome Project. And we said majority of the countries were partners, including India. And thanks to her, it is her brainchild. She was awarded aptly with a Nobel Prize in 1983 for her discovery of transposition and how genes could turn their physical characteristics on and off. Just like whenever we want to make the light off, electricity bulb, we use the switch. Make the switch on, light is on. Make the switch off, light is off. Like that. She advocated that genes also can be switched on and switched off. Next, the greatest discovery of all time, thanks to Professor Watson, and we are all lucky, still he is alive, and he is a visiting professor in the CCMB of Hyderabad, and he is the authority for DNA structure. And Professor Crick, unfortunately we lost him recently, 2004, and they made the world to understand the secrets of all the organisms, including human beings. And if someone asks, what is your secret? What do you say? You say your DNA. What is the DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. And there is one more, RNA, ribulose nucleic acid. So DNA and RNA are the nucleic acids that are present in the chromosome. And chromosomes are present in the nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is a liquid that is present in the nucleus. So James Watson and Professor Crick shot to fame in 1962 for their discovery of the structure of DNA, winning the Medical Nobel Prize in the process. Look at that, the greatest achievement of all time. Double helix model. So their model of DNA, double helix, explains how DNA replicates and hereditary information is coded and passed on. So the discovery of structure has led to much more developed understanding of function used in disease diagnosis and treatment and forensics and more. The applications are vast, and thanks to these two professors, we are able to cure through gene therapy what were until recently thought that those diseases cannot be treated, genetic diseases particularly. And now we have a way out thanks to these professors. And Jane Goodall, Understanding Chimpanzees, 1934. Still, our knowledge of wildlife and conservation has been transformed by Jane Goodall. The UK ethologist, best known for her career-long studies of chimpanzees, she discovered that animals are omnivores and tool users. She is a global leader in animal rights and was awarded a PhD degree from the University of Cambridge without holding a bachelor's degree. Look at that. That is the greatness of this scientist Goodall. And then we come to the last one, Wilmut, 1944, and Campbell, 1954 to 2012, and this is about cloning a mammal. Now, what's a clone? A clone is two organisms appear similar in all respects, then we say they are clones. And credit to these two scientists. In 1996, Ian Wilmut and Keith Campbell cloned a mammal famously named as Dolly. Okay, and this is a sheep, Dolly. Then later on, of course, Polly also has come from this. The pair cloned Dolly using a single adult sheep cell. Normally, you see, whenever we want to have an offspring, a child, there has to be two, male gamete and female gamete, sperm and a ovum. Fusion of sperm and ovum will result in the formation of zygote, and zygote develops into a embryo. Embryo develops into a baby. Baby develops into an adult, right? But here, look at that. There is no need, neither ovary nor sperm. It is only any cell, for that matter, any cell that is available. Okay? So, if an offspring is developed from that, a single adult sheep cell, in this case, in any organism, nowadays we are using this cloning even in tigers. So this is a great boon for all those animals which are threatened. We say endangered animals. So before endangered animals become extinct, we go for the cloning. One cell is enough to produce a new offspring. And the process of nuclear transfer. So Dolly died after 6 years, but cloning continues even today. Although still not perfected and certainly not ready for human application yet. But I'm sure a day is not far off when cloning of mammals, including human beings, will be done. So we will see in the next session some more, another 10 world famous scientists that will help you to score good marks in your